I am beyond excited to speak to this next man. The people that know me know he holds a very special place in my heart. One of the most renowned trainers, commentators, people in the boxing world. Teddy Atlas, thank you so much for joining me, man. Live from London, I believe, or the UK before you jump on your plane back to America. I gotta get straight into it, and I want to jump straight into it because I know you don't have too much time. Daniel Dubois knocking out AJ. I know you said that it was possible, but how are you feeling this morning after you wake up and you think back to how it all went down in that fifth round?
The same as I felt last night sitting ringside. You know that it was like reading a chapter to a great novel where you got to the finish of what all great novels bring you to. You go through, struggle, and then you go through redemption. Then you get to victory, and that's what it was. People have to trace this kid Duval back to really fully appreciate what they saw and what they witnessed, because 2 fights ago he had done something that when fighters do it, they usually don't have a career anymore. He against Joyce, he broke down mentally, gave in, submitted, whatever you want to call it, and then against Usyk, yeah, there was a low blow and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, um, he broke down. He didn't get to the finish line. He did what a fighter shouldn't do. He gave in. Fighting, the definition, you don't have to go to Webster's dictionary. I've been in the business 50 years. For me, fighting means overcoming. I mean, yeah, jab, this, that, all the way back to the Marquis of Queensberry, which is a great history connected with this country, with boxing. That's why part of why it was 96,000 people there. They have a connection to this sport. They back their fighters. It's tremendous. They're great fans, maybe the greatest. But it all comes down to, at the end of the day, fighting comes down to finding a way, overcoming. And I've often said that a fight is not a fight until there is something to overcome. Otherwise, it's just an exhibition of your talents. It's a athletic exhibition. But when there's something over, that's when it's a fight. When there's something to overcome. And when that happened to him, he didn't overcome it. And then what does he do? He comes back, he fights Daryl Miller. Yeah, he was 330 pounds, but tough guy, kept coming, kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. Dubois did not break down. Then he stops him. Then he fights Herjavec. Oh my goodness. I mean, Herjavec isn't a punch of Joshua, but he was hitting a right hand after right hand after right. I was there ringside in Saudi, and he walked through fire, and he stopped Herjavec. He broke him down. So I was telling everyone all week when they were sticking those microphones in front of me, I said, look, you have to favor Joshua because he punches harder than Herjavec. But do not discount a man who has found himself, a man who has really, the word I used earlier, that has found the most powerful force, I think, on the planet, redemption. Redemption. And that's why I say it's like a novel. That's why I say people don't really appreciate the lonely place this guy was and that he had to come out of. Those 2 fights I described that he fought against Miller and Herjavec, I'm telling you, as a guy in the business that's been around a long time, and I think I know some about this business and about the people in it and the fighters in it and what constitutes a champion or a special person, not just physical talent, but beyond that. I'm telling you, he would have fought those fights for free. He would have fought those fights because I don't know that anyone would ever think to pose that to him, but that was his chance to do something that every man, every person wants to be, has to do to exist properly in this world, to look in the mirror and like what was looking back, to walk out of his house every damn day and feel like he was worth something, to feel like a man,
Mm.
to know that there was a worthiness to him. That that's why I say would have fought him for free. He wasn't fighting for a purse. He wasn't fighting for a record. He was fighting for redemption. He was fighting for his soul to be to know who he was and to be comfortable with that person the rest of his damn life, not for the next 10 years in boxing. So when you know, when you realize, very few people probably can realize those things, but when you real, and when I was thinking about that, I said, wow, if this guy has improved defensively a little bit and connects that with what I just said, the power of belief, the power of will that he has now found. If he can connect those two things and be a little better technically, Joshua's gonna. First, I say he's gonna have a long night. Then I say he might have a short night. He might have a short night because, and he did. To the credit of the people with him, he improved his defense. How? By coming in behind his jab instead of walking in naked. He came in behind the jab. He kept Joshua defensive. He backed him up. He made it hard for him to set himself. And then he exploited flaws in Joshua, quite frankly, where Joshua goes straight back. You can't go straight back from too close. If you want a train track, I often use this analogy. If you want a train track, a train's coming out, what do? You don't go back on the train. You get off the track. He's developed a habit. He's gotten away with it with certain level of people, but it's still wrong. Sooner or later, you pay a price. He goes straight back from too close. You follow him, you can hit him. He stands straight up. He's got chin up a little. Stands straight. You get close. He's straight up. You can hit him. And then at the end, he showed hard Joshua, no doubt about it. He was trying to come back. He knew he had a, a, a big hill to climb. So he was throwing jabs, right hands. He landed a couple. He was walking forward. He was getting a little confidence, momentum. He got a little careless. He walked in, he got a little careless. And what does he do? A flaw, a technical flaw. Most knockouts are because of tech. Yeah, it's the power of the other guy, but it's the ability to deliver by the other guy. A flaw in the other opponent, in the opponent's system of defense, where the other fighter, the offensive fighter at the moment, can exploit it. You don't just land because you throw and because you have power. You land because you throw at the right time and because there was a design to it. And that's exactly what happened. Joshua, you talk about flaws. This was the mother of flaws. He drops his right hand to his knee to throw an uppercut. I mean, you don't
Mm.
do that. You don't do it. You don't allow it in the gym. You just don't allow it. You don't let it become a habit. He dropped his hand to throw the right hand. There's a space. There's a delay. Straight right hand by Dubois on the button. Night over. Night
Mm.
over. So it was, that's for me, for Teddy Atlas, that's what I watched with 96 great thousand great fans and the blessing of having my daughter with me. That's
Mm.
that's what I watched, my friend. And I can't applaud Dubois enough. The
Yeah.
devil knocked at the door and he opened the door and punched the devil in the face. You know,
Did
the devil knocks at the door in all of our lives out there, people. This is a lesson for everyone. People grasp it, embrace it, really. Just like Tyson Fury was when he was down in the doldrums and, spiraling out of control, and he made a choice to live. He made a choice to live, and he came back from that. Tyson Fury, 2 years of being in a dismal place. And what does he do? Fury climbs off the canvas. He's on the floor with Wilder. I often said when he was on that floor, I think his life was passing in front of him. He was thinking, do I? Yeah, I really do. Do I live or do I just die? Do I live or do I? you know what? I'm going to live. And about the count of 8, bang, he jumps up. He jumps up. He's up. That's a great lesson. In other words, no matter what, you can get up. No matter what, you can get up. He had been through drugs, alcohol, suicidal thoughts. It doesn't get worse than that. And he came back, decided to live. And you guys got some great ones here in England. You got some great ones over here because of the two I just explained to. And Dubois is now one of them. He's now one of them. He deserves that place on that mantle. He really does. He's a special guy that way. And you know who else? Give credit to his father. Give credit to Don, his trainer. Give credit to Frank Warren, who stuck with him. All those people could have walked away from him or not helped him get up when he was down after those 2 defeats I talked about, where there was a level of submission in those defeats. But they stuck with him. They helped him get. And his trainer Don, I give him a lot of credit. He made him believe. Don had a history with Joshua. He didn't really. I don't think he loved Joshua too much. I think he had a history where he felt Joshua didn't do him right, and where he helped Joshua, he didn't feel Joshua was the kind of person that appreciated or showed that or forgot about what he did, whatever it was. It didn't sit well with him. And they had a sparring session where apparently Dubois must have dropped Joshua in sparring, which sometimes means nothing, or sometimes it means something. Where there's ghosts, there's ghosts, there's ghosts. And if you can bring those ghosts back, if you can bring them back that night, they can twirl around in the other fighter's attic and they can cause a problem. And when you hit them and you start hurting them, I bet you those ghosts started floating around after the first round. After the first round, they started woohoo, boo, ah, woo. They started floating around a little bit. But I give Don credit because that trainer, I talked to him. That trainer, man, he had his kid believing basically it was destiny. Basically, that was written already. Basically, that it was over before it started. He couldn't lose. You can't beat this guy. It's written. It's written. Let it be written. Let it be said. Let it be done. And he believed that. He bought into that. Where he really like that great the great war philosopher, strategist in the book of Art of War, where they say the battle is won before you ever get on the battlefield. To me, there was some of that going on, where if you believe it's your destiny, where you believe it's ordained, you know what? That's powerful.
That's powerful. What I appreciate your time. I know you have to get going. Quick question. You were talking about what Dubois had to overcome. What do you think the future holds for Anthony Joshua? I saw Ricky Hatton talking about how he thinks Joshua should retire. There's a lot of negativity, but obviously this is a guy still in the prime of his career, obviously dealing with a very difficult defeat. What do you think is next for Anthony Joshua?
So to Anthony Joshua, what makes him tick? What makes him get up in the morning? Is, he's the great Marvin Hagler, who I had a good relationship with. I miss him. God bless him. One of the greatest of all time. He once said, great quote. I know a lot of people have stolen it, but a great quote. He once said, Teddy, it's hard to get up at 5 a.m. and do road work when you're sleeping in silk sheets. So it's up to Joshua. He's got the silk sheets. He's had them for a long time. Hearn's done a great job with him. He's done a great job. People love him. You know what? There's only one road for him. 2 roads, really. Retirement or redemption. If he feels that he needs, maybe you don't feel that. He's been a champion. He's a gold medalist from the Olympics. He's made $1 zillion. Maybe you don't need redemption. But everyone is different. It depends what makes what's that saying? Your boat float? Whatever floats your boat. Whatever makes him get up in the morning. Whatever makes him get through a day. Whatever makes him Anthony Joshua. That's it. Maybe he's there already. He don't need nothing. He don't need the applause or the backing of the crowd or the acceptance of the crowd or to validate what he is. He shouldn't need it. He's comfortable in his skin. He's comfortable with everything he's done. Then retire. Ricky Hatton's smart. He's right. Then retire. If that's the case, retire. Leave. You did you can take care of your family. You could do whatever you want. You have enough money for 4 or 5 lifetimes. And God bless you. You earned it. Earned it. I often say, I joke around. I say, when I die, I want to come back as an English promoter because the fans here, they back their fighters. You guys are the best. They back their fighters. They back their. Are you here? Are you there?
No, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yep.
Yeah, I thought I lost you, but they back their fighters. So if he doesn't need nothing, if he's happy, wants to go to a beach somewhere or whatever suits him, he's content. Then retire. But if there's something bothering him, something like what was bothering, Tyson Fury, something like that was bothering Daniel Dubois, if there's something, that's banging at his door, something that's saying, I can't leave it this way. I can't look in the mirror properly. I can't get through a good night's sleep. Even in silk sheets, I have to get an answer. I have to get an answer. Dubois had to get an answer to what he really was, an answer to what he really could be, an answer to what he would do when the devil knocked at the door again. So if he needs that answer to live a proper life, really, it ain't all about money. It ain't all about cars, houses. I mean, how many can you live in? How many can you live in? It's about your own house. You. How you feel about you. If he feels fine, then I would say, Anthony, you've been a gentleman. You've made a lot of money. You've accomplished a lot. You've made your fans happy. Great fans. You should thank the fans. Thank everyone. But they thank you. Thank them. Thank them. But if you are satisfied with what I just said, walk off to the sunset. Go ahead. You earned it. You go ahead. But if not, well, do something because you can't do it 10 years from now. You can't do it 2 years from now. You'd have to do it now. So go take a walk on a beach. Take a walk on the beach with whoever's closest to you, or by yourself, in a moment of solitude, and go out there and find what you have to find. What is it that will allow Anthony Joshua to be able to live the rest of his life content with all the things he's achieved? Does he have it? Or is it still something that he has to answer? Is there still something he has to answer? And if there is, you got some work to do. You got to come back. You got to correct these mistakes. You got to correct those mistakes. And you got to be willing to look at them the way Daniel Dubois was, willing to look inwardly, look at what those mistakes were, and correct them.
Hey fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be a one-and-done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over. Thanks to our friends at MANSCAPED. They're coming up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. Introducing the Beard Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger trimmer for the moneymaker, and another one for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off and free shipping now with the code word submission at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code word submission at manscaped.com. And fellas, real talk. I'm about to talk to you out there, the guys that are about to go on their dates, or the guys that are about to go in the gym, or the guys that are about to just go into work or do whatever life things you need to do. There are certain things you need to do to take care of yourself. Manscaped has you sorted, if you know what I mean. With the 20% off with the code word submission and free shipping today, the Ball and Beard bundle will make sure that you accomplish whatever it is you're trying to do out there. What about NordVPN? It is the ultimate VPN out there. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, you can go to nordvpn.com/submission. Now, our link will give you an extra 4 months on the 2-year plan. That's right, an extra 4 months. And there's absolutely no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is down below, or of course you go to nordvpn.com/submission. What about NordVPN? You can watch your sporting events, TV shows, films which aren't available by your region by switching your virtual location. You can protect your private data like bank details, passwords, and online identity. You can switch your location anywhere to save money by purchasing cheaper flights, hotels, subscriptions. And what about the threat protection feature that protects you from viruses, malicious malware, and phishing sites? It's the fastest VPN in the world with no buffering or lagging. Premium cybersecurity for the price of a cup of coffee per month. And one NordVPN account can be used up to 10 devices. That's right, 10 devices. Go to nordvpn.com/submission now. Get the deal. Try it risk-free. It's one of the best apps in the game as well. nordvpn.com/submission. Support this show so we can provide more interviews for you throughout the next few months with nordvpn.com and Manscaped now. Now back to the program. Last question from me. Yeah, last question to me as you go, Teddy. Everybody just wants to get your thoughts on this. I got this online from people. They want to get your thoughts on this. As you go, what is your thought about Dana White saying that he's going into boxing? Obviously, you've worked a lot of UFC
I say,
broadcasts.
come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We need you. Turkey Al-Sheikh has helped boxing tremendously by making fights that the promoters couldn't make. They didn't want to make because they didn't own both sides. They didn't control both sides. They didn't control both sides. They didn't want to go across the street and share. So the fans suffered, didn't get the fights they wanted. The sport suffered. The sport was getting less and less relevant. This sport is the longest sport in the history of sports. You go, they find dwellings of guys throwing punches on caves 2,000 years ago. This sport shouldn't be irrelevant, but it was becoming it because the promoters with the networks, with their sugar daddies, they were just making the fights to keep their guys undefeated to get to the next big fight. A against B, non-competitive fights. Every once in a while they threw you a bone. It wasn't enough. The fans were starving. And then Al-Sheikh, Turkey Al-Sheikh came along from Saudi with the money, and the last year he's made fights that the fans want, the sport needs. Dana White does that. He's been doing that forever over the UFC. Yeah, I know it's one guy in charge. Oh, but Teddy, he's the dictator. He's that. Listen, if a dictator ain't chopping heads off and he's getting things done, sometimes maybe we can learn a little something. Maybe maybe at least it gives us direction. It gives us rules. We could use rules in this world right now. We could use direction in this world right now. We could use some of those things. Hold on.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm coming down. I'm just doing a radio interview for somebody. I'll be right down. Yeah, I'm in trouble.
No, all good, Teddy. We'll let you go because you're running late. Guys, make sure.
The last thing, to finish that, Dana White, Teddy Atlas would have open arms because he'd make the fights that you need to make. Yeah, I know people say, well, what are people going to get paid? Listen, when you make the fight, UFC, he created a hell of a brand. And it wasn't a complicated formula. Make the fights that the people want to see, and the brand will grow because the fans will grow it, because they will come out to see it. Build it, they will come. You remember that movie, Field of Dreams? Build it, they will come. He built it. They came. He knew how to build. People say, well, they don't get paid. Some people, no. It is trickling down. The stars are being born. They're making a bigger money. Same thing in boxing. But then it starts to trickle down. Yes, I want everyone paid. Anyone who gets at every ring and risk themselves. But when you build something, there is more to give then. It's prosperous. Then it will trickle down. Then it will go to all the other fighters, on the totem pole. The bottom line is the brand will be stronger. The brand of boxing has become stronger because of Turkey Al-Sheikh making these fights. It will become stronger. Maybe in a more even spread out way. If maybe the two of them join together in their ideas. But if Turkey, if Dana White brings, his model into boxing, to have the structure, to have infrastructure, to have enforcement of rules, to again to have the kind of fights that people want, that people only have been getting really on a regular basis in the last year because of what I just said. If he brings that, and he would bring that, again, Teddy would say, "Hey, Dana, come on in this way.
Well, if you
Welcome,
build it,
welcome."
well, if you build it, they will come. And this has been a field of dreams moment for me, Teddy. Thank you so much for joining me. You're an absolute legend. Guys, make sure to follow the man on socials at Teddy_Atlas. And of course, The Fight with Teddy Atlas on YouTube, one of the best boxing shows out there. What an absolute honor for me, Teddy. Thank you so much. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you. My pleasure.